Hey, how we doing guys? Thanks for tuning in to my review of The Walker on PSVR. And if you want more PSVR and sometimes PS4 content, please like and subscribe, it's very much appreciated. Like a toilet flushing in a nearby bathroom, the distant disgruntlement as another wave shooter hits the system is palpable. I'll admit, I'm a sucker for the genre. I even liked Endgame on PS2 if anyone remembers that one. But with such a crowded scene, any new entry has to bring something new to the table. And Haymaker's The Walker showed some interesting elements in its promo materials that lured me in, like a sex pest with the promise of a puppy. Set in Shanghai, you are visited by a cloaked figure who just strolls into your house one night to inform you that you're a descendant of a great exorcist, and you will require a quick tutorial to combat the ghostly threat on the streets. While containing more exposition than something like Time Carnage, the setup is still slim, and for those of you hoping for a Big Trouble in Little China vibe, will be sorely disappointed. Firing this up on the PS4 Pro, the Walker's supernatural stylings look competent. The resolution is decent, if not particularly sharp, with draw distances and frame rates holding firm. Lighting and particle effects are proficient, with character models such as the terracotta soldiers looking the most impressive under scrutiny as they shamble their way towards you. But with only a handful of different enemies, their presence becomes repetitive quite quickly over the game's scant 5 stages. Environments are mildly impressive, with the dingy back alleys and subways all lit and modelled capably, apart from the occasional muddy texture. Your guns, sword and hands are modelled better than some of its contemporaries, with the lack of a pin-sharp resolution doing some of these assets a little disservice. While nothing astounds, the graphical package definitely screams budget, with a lick of polish very much needed to elevate the aesthetic somewhat. One of the appealing factors of wave shooters is that it evokes those adrenaline-fueled arcade days of House of the Dead, Operation Wolf or Virtua Cop. Over-the-top voice work, crunchy explosions and a heart-racing soundtrack all gave a feeling of instant gratification, which is why it's a strange design choice from Haymaker to omit music pretty much entirely from Walker's campaign. While there's the occasional sting or ambient interlude, you're mainly accompanied by the patter of rain, the groans of your foes and rapid gunfire. And as such, the game is devoid of any real atmosphere. Silence can be an effective tool when used in the right moments, but for a game that wants you to revel in its action, Walker feels sparser than Harvey Weinstein's current contact list. Sound effects are decent enough, despite some glitches meaning some of them go missing at certain points, and the voice work is perfunctory. Swordplay sounds weak apart from when you block an incoming attack which has a bone rattling thud, but that aside, everything is quite generic. What Haymaker gives with one hand, it takes with the other quite literally. While the ability to swap at will between sword and gunplay is a welcome yet tried and tested mechanic, the charms you can imbue your weapons with comes at the expense of dual wielding weapons. Using either the DualShock 4 or PlayStation moves, you will be right hand dominant, as the left is only used to pull up these enhancements, until your third playthrough, which I'll come on to shortly. This results in the action being less frantic and a little one-dimensional, undermining satisfying shooter mechanics. The charms give you the ability to charge your sword or bullets with electricity or ice, but they feel a little awkward to use. There is no ability to upgrade or augment your weapons during the campaign, restricting you to one sword and one gun, only exacerbating the monotonous gameplay loop. Tracking feels responsive, with you being able to pick off enemies from a distance with relative ease. The action takes place on a 360-degree axis, utilising click turning for 90-degree turns. Using your sword seems a little floaty, apart from blocking, which is by far the most accomplished aspect of the game. Upon my initial playthrough, the action felt pedestrian and lethargic, proving neither challenging nor fun, as I completed the game's 5 stages in about 45 minutes. However, when unlocking further difficulties, upgraded weapons, a rampage mode and the ability to dual wield became available, but in a strange twist of fate, the increased difficulty improved the game massively. Enemies were more aggressive, forcing me to dodge and move constantly, something that only occurred on the final level of the default difficulty setting. As old Jack Burton used to say, it's all in the reflexes. By making the game overly accessible, Haymaker have removed the challenge and enjoyable elements of the game until your second run, which is very bizarre and a choice that could turn people off in the first 20 minutes. And at the current price, many punters will rightly feel this is too expensive for the amount of content on offer. Unfortunately, the trophy list is lackluster and only the most hardened trophy hunters need apply. With only 2 silvers and 16 bronzes on offer, this isn't going to propel you up the PSN Profiles leaderboard anytime soon. Quite a few trophies will come naturally over repeated playthroughs, as many of them are accumulative, like kill 300 enemies with headshots for example. As a result, you will need at least 3 runs to achieve 100%, taking you around 5 hours in total. The difficulty rating for ultimate completion stumbles in at a 4 or 5, with achieving godlike scores on the harder difficulties proving the only real challenge. I was really looking forward to the Walker. The setting, enemy design and mechanics show some promise, but it's ultimately hurt by its budget soundtrack, graphics, small scale and general lack of polish. That's not to say the game is entirely without merit. The style and concept is intriguing, and whether played straight or po-faced, any future instalment potentially could be very entertaining if these issues are addressed. For those willing to trudge through a meandering first playthrough, you will find a hint of what you are looking for with the game's harder settings. For the rest of you, the only walking you should be doing is away from this game until it's on sale.